So I'm Mohammed. So today we are going to speak about the power of OpenAI and how we can use in the Power Platform. So in recent weeks, there's been a lot of buzz and discussions about OpenAI. Uh, there are like many conversation in LinkedIn, Twitter, which has been focusing on OpenAI and ChatGPT. So today, what we are going to look at is an exciting scenarios, as a couple of exciting scenarios where we can see how we can integrate the OpenAI capabilities within Microsoft Power Platform. So just some introduction about myself before we get into the session. So I'm Mohammed Ashik Falil. I'm a Power Platform architect at Avanade, here located in Sweden. So I've been working with Microsoft with Microsoft technologies for the past 15 years, and out of that, my recent focus is mainly with Power Platform, and also some interesting integrations with IoT using the Power Platform, and also have experience working with Azure. So I'm a pro code developer, come architect, and also a designer, solution designer. I do write blogs. I will send the link to my website after the session ends. My main focus or the topics which I choose to write within my website is on Power Platform, especially for pro code developers and also no code, of course. So I'm a Microsoft certified trainer and also an MVP in the business applications category. I've been living in Sweden for the past 4 years almost. I'm basically from India, but in Sweden I came here for living. So these are my social handles. Have my given my email address and also my LinkedIn contact. So you can connect with me later, and if you have got any questions related to the topic which I'm going to speak about, I'll also be showing some exciting demos. Right. So if you have got any questions in executing it from your side, please feel free to reach out to me. So now the agenda, what we are going to look at. So first we'll start with what is OpenAI, and what it can actually do, right? So and then the language models. So there are a couple of language models, like ChatGPT is one of them, and if you have heard about DAL-E, that is one another language model which can generate images based on what you write. And then let's look at a sneak peek on how the pricing looks like for OpenAI, and if you have to use and integrate within Power Platform, how much it's going to cost you. Right. So and then what you can do with OpenAI, the different use cases, right? And then I will, at the end, I will show you how it can be integrated within Power Platform with a couple of demos. Right. So OpenAI, it's a research company. It's been around for a few years, and they have recently announced ChatGPT, which is like up and running for 4 months or so, right? And they have started this initiative to make AI reachable to the whole humanity, right? So where everyone can use the artificial intelligence capabilities, right? So OpenAI, it has various models, right? So it can understand the natural language of whatever we write and whatever we speak, and it can get back with responses. So there are, as I said, there are multiple models like ChatGPT, DALL-E, etc., which has been pre-trained with billions of parameters. So it is not a live it is not a live model, but it's been trained until September 2021. So there you can also create your own custom model based on the existing models which have been available with OpenAI. So these models can be used to generate content and then used for generating keywords based on the for the content you write. You can generate images. You can translate content. You can use to classify content. And they have recently announced a model called as Whisper, which allows you to recognize speech and convert it to text. It can understand up to 99 languages. So these are the different models which has been available as of now. The first one is GPT 3.5. So that this is a very recently announced model which has been available from March 1, 2023. So which is exactly the same which the Chat GPT uses, right? And then we have Chat GPT 3. So what it can actually do is it can understand the natural language and generate content based on what you ask the models. So these are the different models which has been available here. The sub classification GPT 3.5 Turbo. So that is the recently announced model from March 1. So it can understand complex sentences, right? And it can create summaries, right? So it can translate. It can classify your content and find out if the content, how the sensitivity of the content, right? So it can, for example, parse the text, right, and understand and make a completely a different way of writing. For example, you can ask this model to generate a content and simplify the content so that you can explain it to for a 10-year-old, right, in layman's terms. So it can do a lot of things. So, and then we have a DAL-E, right? So this is a model which is still in preview. So it can generate or modify or create a new version of an existing image. So it is mostly it is for images. So it can create images based on a text prompt. I will show you while during the demo. I've got some thing to show on this. It can we can create a new variation of an existing image, right? So based on what you write. And then we have Whisper. So this model has been available very recently from March 1. So what it can do is it can understand language, right? So audio. You can convert audio to text, right? So it can understand up to 99 languages. It can create transcriptions. It can translate content. It can identify what language that the audio is, right? So it can do a lot of different things. I have got a demo here as well. And then we have Codex, which is mainly used for generating code, right? So let's say you wanted to write code using Microsoft.NET, right, for connecting to an SQL data source. So this can help you with code, right? It can write you the complete code. You can easily follow the code and then start building your application, right? So it will generate code, right? So you can, for let's say you want to convert the code which has been written in C# to Python, right? So it can do it, right? So within a fraction of a second or maximum minutes, it can generate a completely a version of code in Python from .NET. Right, so you can also create this model. You can also use this model to generate a documentation, a code documentation, right? So let's say you have already written a code in C#, or using PowerFX, right? So it can generate a documentation for each and every single line of code. So that is this codex model which can be used for. And then we have moderation. So that this is mainly used for moderating your content to identify the sensitivity of the content, etc. And then at the last we have fine tuning, right? So this is something which is used for customizing an existing model, right? So let's say we are using this text Vinci model, which is the text completion model, and you'd like to customize it and train it with your data, right? So you can do so with fine tuning. Right. So here, what are the OpenAI availability options? Right. So we have this service from OpenAI itself. So you can register an account in OpenAI.com, and as soon as you register, you get around $18 credit, which can be used for a maximum of 3 months. And beyond that, they have also opened this service for pay as you go model. Right, so it's been so that model is available for different locations. And then we have this service from Azure OpenAI. Most of the models are available except the recently announced one, the Whisper, and then the Chat GPT 3.5 Turbo. But other than that, all other models are available. The code generation, the codex model, right, and then WAL-E, the DAL-E model, which is used for generating images. So those models are available. And right now, it is available upon request. So if you have to use this service from Azure, then you'll have to request it and tell Microsoft what you're going to do with these APIs, right, with this service. And after you fill up a form, they look at the content what you have submitted. They will, and then based on the use case, they approve it. Once the request is approved, it will be available on your Azure subscription to use the model, to use the services. Right. So here the different use cases, right? So what you can use OpenAI for. So you can use to summarize a content. You have got a long content. You'd like to create a short summary, right? So it'll be able to do it. You can use the OpenAI for classifying your content, analyze the sentiment, right, to moderate your content, and then take some actions based on the content, right? And then you can detect fraud, right, etc. And when it comes to generating the content, you can use this service to assist with you in writing. And then the code generation models, where you can generate code, and then you can use these models to translate content from one language to a different language. And then you can extract information from an unstructured text. So these are the different types of use cases which you can use, which you can take advantage of in OpenAI. So let's see how I have integrated OpenAI with Power Platform, right? So I have done it in 2 ways. The first one is using a Power Automate flow. The Power Automate is an offering from and it's part of the Microsoft Power Platform family, where you can create workflows and automate business process. So you can use Power Automate to integrate OpenAI. I'll show you how I did it. And then you can also create a custom connector. So custom connector is a feature in Power Platform with which you can use APIs to use API and use them in either Power Automate or Power Apps. I have also used custom connector to do it. I will show you while I give you the demo. And then let's see what I'm going to show you now. Right, so I have used the Chat GPT APIs, right? So where you can ask anything, the API. So that is something which I'm going to show you, and then the DAL-E model, which allows you to generate images, right, and then the Whisper model, which is used for translating, converting audio to text. So let's see, quickly bring it up. So before getting into the demo, I will quickly show you some documentation. So here, so this is the chat GPT version. Right, so the chat.openai.com. So this is this is the interface of OpenAI. And what we have did here is we have used the API behind the scenes in Power Platform and created some sort of interface to ask OpenAI, right? So questions. So let's quickly look at the documentation here. Right, so here these are this is documentation from OpenAI, right? So it has got a detailed documentation on how you can use the API and how it's secured, like authentication, how you can make requests, etc. So, and also all the different API, different models, and how it is the different API endpoints and how we can use them. All right, so here let's quickly look at the documentation, right, for authentication. So here, if you have to use OpenAI API endpoints, you'll have to give a key, right? So the API endpoints are not anonymous. So you'll have to generate a key, which I'm going to show you how. Right. So after you have registered with OpenAI.com, then you log in. After you have logged in, right? So you can get the key from View API keys. Right. So this is the key which I have generated and you have used in Power Platform. So go to after you have logged in with OpenAI, go to click on your name and then click on View API keys. Let's create, if you don't have an existing key, create a new secret key and copy that, which we'll be using it in the API API. Right, so after the API keys are generated, right? So you can directly use it in Power Platform. Now I will show you a quick demo. So here, right, so I have created a simple interface with a text box and then a button. Right, so let's ask something. Ask OpenAI. Write a story about lion and a dinosaur playing in a jungle. Right, so let's also restrict the story to 15 lines. Write a 15-line story about lion and dinosaur playing in the jungle. Right, so I have clicked on the search button. So what's happening now is the API endpoints is being used to pass this prompt, right? And you can see we have received a response, right? So it has created a story, a 15-line story about a lion and a dinosaur, right? So yeah. So this one, let's see some demonstration for the sentiment. Right, so I'm gonna quickly copy a pretext field. Right, so here what we have asked is, so we are gonna ask OpenAI, right, to decide the sentiment, right? So the food served today is delicious. Right, so is it a positive sentiment or is it a negative or a neutral sentiment? So let's ask. So yeah, it came back with an answer like it is positive. Right, so let's change it to say not good. Okay, it came back, right? It analyzed the sentiment, it analyzed the text, and came back with an answer. It says it's negative. All right, so let's now look at the image generation model. right? So which is DAL-E. I'm gonna ask OpenAI to generate images for this, right? So Riyadh, oil or pencil sketching. So we have asked OpenAI to generate some images for Riyadh in pencil sketching. So it came back, right? So you can see the images here are artificially generated, right? So, and we have asked OpenAI to generate 4 images. I'm going to show you how much and how that is done. Let's look at the other scenarios. Right. So now the third scenario is translation. I'm going to ask OpenAI to translate English to Arabic. How are you? So I've given some predefined language drop down. So I'm going to choose Arabic. And so how are you? Yeah, right. So it came back. Right. So let's ask in Swedish, English to Swedish. Yeah. So you can see it got translated. And now let's quickly see how it recognizes the audio and converts the speech to text. Right. So here, what I've got here is a mic control from Power Apps. Right. So we are using this control to record the voice, right? And then as soon as the voice is recorded, we're going to call the OpenAI Whisper service to convert the audio to text. So let's see how it does. So I'm going to record it now using this mic control. I've started it. Let's see how OpenAI Whisper model manages to detect the speech and be able to convert it to text. Yeah, so we have got the voice recorded now. Let's generate. Yeah, you can see it was able to, OpenAI was able to recognize my voice in my accent. Right, so it started it. Let's see how OpenAI Whisper model manages to read the speech and be able to convert it to text. Right, and this Whisper model, if you speak in Arabic, it would be able to translate it to English, right? So generate text in English, and it can also create transcriptions, right? So you speak in Arabic, right, and then it can create transcriptions in Arabic, right, and also in other languages. And it is better than most of the other services which is available in internet. It is, the accuracy are perfect, right? So I have compared it with other services, right? So this one is much better than what's been available in the market. Right, so let's see how I have done it, right? So before doing it, let me quickly show you the documentation, right, and also the different API endpoints which I've used. And so API reference. So for the first one, right, so where we asked it to generate a story, I've used the model name called as Da Vinci. Right, so let me quickly show you the API, making request, chat. Yes, so this is the model which I've used, right? So post https openai.com v1 completions, right? So this is the model which I've used for for the chat GPT ask me anything, right? For images, I've used this model from DALL-E, OpenAI.com, V1 images generation. Right, so you can also see here on each of these different models what is the request type is. Is it a get request, or is it a post request, or is it a patch or a delete? Right, so here it is post, and what should be the body, right? For creating an image, you should first of all, whatever we wrote in that text box in Power Apps, so we are passing, so that is called as prompt, so that is what we are passing it, and how many images you would like to generate, so that is the n, which is here. And then what should be the size of the images which gets generated, right? So the default size is 1024 into 1024. Yeah, and then for audio, for translating, for converting audio to text, I've used this API endpoint, OpenAI.com audio transcriptions, right? And then for creating a translation from one language to a different language, so this is the API endpoint, right? So audio and then translations. Yeah, whenever I have to use an API in Power Platform, I first start with Postman, right? So here, let me quickly show you Postman. So this is a tool which is available for download. You can download it, and it helps you call APIs, right? Test APIs. Right. So here I've used a different API model. So here you can see HTTPS OpenAI.com V1 completions, right? So the method is post, right? And the body, what is the model I'm calling? You can see I've used text DaVinci 003, and then prompt. So the prompt here is write a story about a cat and a mouse in 15 lines. Right, and we have maximum tokens. So this is for how many words it can maximum generate. So here it cannot go beyond 1,000 words, right? So and there are restrictions on how much maximum tokens it can OpenAI can handle. Right, for this text DaVinci, if I'm not wrong, it can maximum generate up to 4,000 or 5,000 tokens, not beyond that. All right, so here this is body, right, and headers. And headers authorization is one of the header which we should use, and then the value is the bearer, followed with the API key which you have generated from the from that website where we have generated a secret. So that is what I have it here. And then the content type, which is application JSON. So let's quickly send a request. Let's see how it responds back with an answer for this story about a cat and a mouse. So you can see here, it came back with a response, ID, and then there are different parameters and JSON parameters, ID object created, and choices, right? So choices and then text. So here is the response. Here is the story. And what we have to do here from Power Platform is we'll have to make this request in Power Platform and then get the response back, right? So choices, text. So let's see how I've done it. I'll first show you the show you how I've done this with Power Automate. Let's go back. So Power Apps, and then Power Automate. So Power Apps Maker Studio. So here I'm in a Maker Studio. So this is where we'll have we can develop the app. So on the left pane, you have got Power Automate. So here I have created a couple of flows. The first one is to integrate with OpenAI, where I've used the chat, where I've used the text completion model. So the flow is loading. No, it takes some time. Yeah, so we have it. Okay, so we are calling this flow from the app on click of a button, right? And after that is called. So I've used an HTTP connector. So this connector allows you to call an API in a Power Automate flow. The method is post and URI. So that is the request URI. And here, whatever we had in header section is what we are having it in here. Authorization, bearer, and then the secret key generated from the portal, and then the content type. So this is the body, right? So what is the name? What is the model? Which is text Darwin C003, and the prompt, right? The prompt is, so this one is whatever we wrote in the text box is what we have here, right? So that is here, and the maximum tokens, it can generate up to 250 words. And after this is done, right? So it's gonna get a response, right? So this API call, and we are here parsing. We are parsing the response and getting the text back. So here you can see it gets the text right from the choices array, and after that is extracted from the response, and we are sending it back to Power Apps, right? So this is that. Let me show you the other flow which I've used to generate an image. Yeah, and before till the flow is shown here, I'll quickly show you the Whisper model, right, in Postman. So here for the Whisper model, this is the API endpoint to create transcriptions, right? API.openai.com, audio transcriptions, and we have post. And if you look at the headers, it is the same with a minor difference, right? Compared to the other models, the content type here, instead of application JSON, it is form data, right? Multi-part form data. And then if you look at the body, right, in the earlier for the earlier model, this text Darwin C, we have used raw, but here we have used form data, right? And in the form data, the first key is the Whisper, which is model, Whisper number 1, and then the next one is file, right? So here, if you look here, the type of the key is file, and here I've generated, I have uploaded a file, right? So select files, right? So I have uploaded the file. I have got an pre-recorded file. So let's quickly use that. And now we are uploading the file, right? So in Postman, it's a pre-recorded one, and the format of that file is WebM, which is similar to MP3 and MPEG. All right, so here it is able to respond back from the content, right? So from that audio. Let's see. So how I have used it in the Power Automate flow. Right, so here this one is for speech to text, right? So we are first of all getting the content, recorded content from the mic control, right? And then we are using a compose statement, right? So this is the base 64 content, whatever we are getting it from Power Apps. I'll show you quickly. And then here is the HTTP connector, the post, and then the URI is translations, right? And then we have authorization, which is same as that, right? And then the content type, which is multi-part and form data. So here is where we are sending in the data of the audio data, right, to the API endpoint. So I'm going to write a blog about it shortly. It'll be available in my in my website in few days, right? So we are getting the response back from this request, and we are sending it back to Power Apps. So let's quickly I will quickly show you how it's been done, right? So this is speech to text. So here I have used to control the mic control, right? And here we have generate button. So on click of this button, we are calling that flow, Power Automate flow. You can look here. Right, so I'm creating a couple of global variables. The first one is where JSON, right? So we are getting the content of the microphone, the binary data, which is in base 64 format. And after that, we are calling this flow, right? OpenAI, whatever flow I have shown previously, we are calling that flow, and we are parsing in that base 64 data to the flow as an input. And once it goes, it responds back with the text, which we are storing in a global variable called as audio text. And here I have this text box, right? So here you can see the audio text global variable which we have created, and we are displaying that in a text box here. So that is how it is done for translating, for converting audio to text, and for image generation. It's almost similar. So we are calling a flow, right? The flow is, let's quickly look at the flow. Generate images. Yeah, so it is again similar to how I have handled the other API endpoints. Yeah, so we are calling this API endpoint to generate images generation, right? And then the prompt, right? So whatever the text we wrote in that text box, that is what we are passing it here. And then the number of images it should generate, we have 4 here. That's how it generates 4, right? And after that, and we are passing the response from this action, right? And then for each of this from the response, we are generating an image URL, right? And we are responding it back. And as soon as the images are generated, right, from the HTTP call, and we are binding it to a gallery, right? So a Power Apps gallery, which is used to list content from various data sources. Right, so this is one way of doing it, and then as I said, you can also use custom connector. I will not be able to show everything and walk in detail about the custom connector, but I'll be writing a blog about it shortly, which you can take advantage of. Right, so there are various way to integrate. You can also use API management, right, to secure the OpenAI APIs, right? So you can use the APIs from Azure OpenAI service, right? So that is like more secured with Microsoft Azure Active Directory, right? So that is also something which you can use of. So here, this is how I have used the custom connector, right? So first of all, it's security, right? So as it is not an anonymous API, which has been it's secured with an API key. This is what we have here. And then on definitions, we have the APIs, the different API endpoints we're not going to call. So I've used the APIs to generate text and also to generate images, right? So the different URLs. Yes, I'm up for questions. It's a pretty it's pretty short time to cover everything, right? So, but I will detail. I will write in detail in my website, so you can follow it
You
later.
can share it, please, Muhammad, on chat, your personal blog site.
Absolutely, yes, please.
Yeah. So
yes, I'll do it. Yeah.
I would like to thank you so much, Muhammad, for this awesome session. It was really informative and helpful, and in line with the most recent technology like GPT, which is a subject that I interest, and mainly related to Power Platform. Before Muhammad leave any question, guys, please be specific and be on topic for your question related to this session. Ahmed Abdelrazik.
Yes, I just have a question. If ChatGPT is not working in Egypt, so is it will be working through Power Platform using these APIs?
I'm not sure, right? So if it's not working in Egypt, maybe OpenAI would have blocked it for some reason. But you can try with Azure OpenAI service. It may be available there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other question?
So I'll be available for some time in chat, right? So if you have got any questions, feel free to write in chat as well.
Okay, it's great.